Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mundane Matt, and I've been trying to not talk a lot about Trump or the Trump administration recently, mostly because I feel it's been a lot of just really kind of ridiculous back and forth, and nothing that really adds to an overall constructive conversation. However, today's events, I gotta say something because I wholeheartedly disagree with what went down. So earlier today, Trump spoke at CPAC, gave this roaring speech to his devoted fans, where he went on this huge tirade against what he called the fake news. He reiterated that tweet he said the other day, where the news, ABC, CNN, CBS, NBC, were enemies of the American people. To which case he later clarified that they're not. But then today he said that they were again. Once again, he flip-flops, but that's Trump. It's to be expected at this point. And I think anyone out there, either his supporters or his detractors, can fully admit we're 33 days into his presidency. He's not going to change the rhetoric he used on the campaign trail. So it really does take a lot to kind of sift through the bullshit. And there is a great deal of bullshit. Those of you out there who are his supporters that are trying to claim that he's just upholding what he said he was going to do, you're not entirely wrong. He literally said these things. The rest of us now are just waiting to see whether or not the judicial system is going to battle him on everything. And given what we've seen with the travel ban, they are. And you know what? That's a good thing. There's checks and balances for a reason. But today, I can't back this at all. There was an off-camera, on-the-record meeting with Sean Spicer this afternoon, where the Trump administration blocked multiple press outlets from being in that room, like the New York Times, CNN, the Los Angeles Times, Huffington Post, BuzzFeed, and Politico, as well as the BBC. The BB fucking C, the British Broadcasting Company, the BB fucking C was completely cut out of this thing, right? You ask most people out there if they trust the BBC because they're impartial, they'll tell you yes. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle they're on. They'll be like, yeah, no, I get it. You know, Fox is totally conservative, MSNBC is liberal, but BBC, they're pretty good. And they were blocked out of this, right? Now, some of the organizations that were allowed in, like the Gateway Pundit, the Daily Caller, Washington Times, the One America News Network, haven't heard of them, and Breitbart, basically Republican and Trump friendly outlets were going to this event. And I just, the only thing I could really think of when I read the headline was, oh shit, it begins, right? You know, Trump has tried to say for the longest time that the media, very much is against him. The media is very much against the American people. Fake news, all this stuff, and you can argue that they are, and that they aren't. I think in certain cases you're going to find false stories or misleading facts or misleading information on any side of the ideological coin, right? Like you do all the time. You see this all the fucking time. It doesn't matter the outlet. People will jump on things as soon as they get them. They don't always vet it properly. It happens on YouTube. It happens anywhere where news is discussed. And it's a constantly evolving world. But at the same time, not everything that comes out fast is not factual. Now, one of the things Trump had said this morning at the CPAC speech was that these reporters, they don't address who their sources are. They don't name their sources. Yeah, well, they're anonymous sources for a reason, which I find to be really hypocritical coming from Trump, considering the fact that back in the late 80s and early 90s, he himself would pose as a man named Jack or John Barron, right? He would contact People magazine and he would say, like, have you heard the news about Donald J. Trump? He's currently bedding multiple women while he's still married to Martha Maples. He would act as his own publicist and his own anonymous source, and he would contact People magazine to get them to run these stories and these articles about him to further increase the knowledge base around him. He was acting as his own fake news, so to speak. He would create these fake stories in order to get it to run. And he has no problem with that. But he did that about, almost 30 fucking years ago, but no one seems to care that happened, right? Even though it really does at the same time show you exactly why he doesn't like Tiffany. But the point is and I'm not condemning Trump 100%. It's publicity. It's tabloid shit. All right. It's not real news, real journalism. But at the same time, some of the, you got to at least call bullshit on cutting people out, because Sean Spicer said before officially taking the role of White House press secretary back in December, when asked if certain reporters or certain organizations are going to be cut out of everything, he said no. And here we see today that pro-Trump organizations have been giving preferential treatment to those who have been critical of the president. And again, you might sit there and say, but Matt, these people clearly fucking deserve it because they write fake news. Again, it's not a perfect system, and I'm not trying to defend anybody. But if you're going to sit there and try to tell me that Breitbart hasn't run bullshit, and that the Washington Times hasn't run bullshit, come on, you can't have your cake and eat it too in this one, right? But here's a cool thing though. Wall Street Journal was there, and they said had they known of the conditions, they would have pulled out. Not that I give too much of a shit what Wall Street Journal has to say, simply over the whole PewDiePie thing, but the Associated Press and Time, when learning of this particular ban from these outlets, they didn't go either. They actually didn't go out of protest, which is good. What we're seeing right now is this assault on the media, and we're seeing these outlets that are attacking Donald Trump, that are being critical of Donald Trump, and the fact that he has blundered his way through the first 33 days. Are getting kind of ostracized. Now, listen, again, you might be a supporter of Donald Trump. Cool beans. I'm not criticizing you at all. I look at this president and I see a person who I don't think has a full understanding or grasp of what the job entails. I see a person that flip-flops constantly. I see a person that shifts the blame constantly, because that's what he does. He doesn't ever take responsibility. Look at the press conference the other day when he said the leaks were real, but the news was fake. But the news reported on the leaks about Michael Flynn in contact with Russia before he became the national security advisor, and, maybe or maybe didn't violate the Logan Act. You know what I mean? Like, that was a real thing, but he took it as like, oh no, fake news, because he shifts blame. And if you look at people inside his camp, they shift blame constantly. Sean Spicer shifts blame. Kellyanne Conway shifts blame. Steve Bannon calls the media the opposition party. This is from a dude who ran a media organization, that one that's still getting preferential treatment. So it's a load of horse shit. All I'm asking from you guys here is just look at this and ask yourself, would you rather no press be there except for the stuff that's favorable to the president? Or would you rather all press be there, have access to the same information at the same time, be able to ask the questions, and then we get to look at everyone's coverage and then determine for ourselves who is being factual and who is being fake, right? And I think we need that. I think that's the issue here. So there are people out there that are very much upset at Sean Spicer for acting this way. Sean Spicer clearly is doing what his master bid. Sean Spicer is a spineless clone of Melissa McCarthy. Sorry, I don't like the guy. He's funny to watch, but that's really about it. He's very contentious, and I think he has little respect for what he does. But that's my personal opinion. But at the end of the day, these actions set a dangerous precedent going forward, and one that shouldn't be accepted by anyone, regardless of how you view the media. Because not everyone who works for these organizations pushes fake news or hyperbolic bullshit. It does happen, absolutely, and it should be called out when it does, and those people should be held accountable. But the organization itself doesn't always do that, and trying to paint media with a broad brush that it's all fucking fake and it's all horrible because it dares criticize our commander-in-chief. It's like John McCain said, that's how dictators get started. And again, I'm not saying Trump is a dictator. I don't think he's got the cojones to be a dictator. But I think that a lot of this action has a lot to do with Politico running that article in the interview from the former communications director of the Trump campaign, where they talked about how they had to kind of handle Trump with kid gloves to make sure he received so much praise and so much adoration. And so they would print out tweets that were favorable to him. They'd print out articles that are favorable to him. So he would read them and then go, oh, people like me. And then you saw that reflected in the way he gave interviews, like when he was talking to Bill O'Reilly and he brought up this article from Breitbart, Trump 100% vilified. and everything else, or, you know, whatever the fuck it is. Not vilified. Whatever, 100% in the right, basically is what I'm trying to say. So there's that. It's all bullshit. It's all smokescreen. It's all a smokescreen. But the key is you have to still pay attention to as much of it as humanly possible. And the more you start to try to silence it, and the more you try to cut away from it, and the more you try to shove it underneath the rug or make it go away, the worse it's going to get. Because if information starts going through a particular funnel, and that's the only funnel it goes through, it can easily be manipulated. It can easily be controlled. And again, if you look back at that interview from the senior communications director, whose name is like Sam something, I forget his name, he said that when they needed to cheer Trump up or keep him on point, they would go to more friendly outlets and ask them to write puff pieces and then be able to give them back to Trump. And he claimed that Breitbart was one of the organizations that did that. And so again, you have to ask yourself, if this is to believe to be true from a person who was inside Trump's inner circle for the campaign, saw these things going down, handled it himself, how much of the favorable coverage Trump got during the campaign was a ploy to appeal to his feelings versus the reality of the situation? It doesn't change that he won. It doesn't change that we are where we are. But I feel if we're going to hold the media accountable, I feel if you're going to be mad at CNN and NBC and ABC and whatever else for saying fake news, at the same time, we have to hold our president accountable when he tweets out things that say the media is the enemy of the people, unless it's the media that's favorable to Trump, as we saw with his press conference when he's like, let me find a friendly reporter. Let me find a friendly reporter. I mean, that's where his mind is, but we still need to hold him accountable, and we still need the freedom of the press. And so this kind of action, I can't condone. In fact, I pretty much fucking condemn it. And I think that it's ridiculous and it sets a dangerous precedent going forward. But anyway, listen, what are your thoughts? This is not meant to be an attack on anyone. I just want accountability from all sides. That's what I want. If you guys have a difference of opinion, please write it down in the comments. If you guys like the video, go ahead and hit that like. If you want to subscribe, I post new content pretty much every single day. It's kind of my job. It's what I do. I like it. If you want to support it, links below in the video description. My name is Mundane Matt. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. And remember, always question the media, everyone, including myself and other YouTubers, because we may not always get it right, but we do try. And I think that is essentially the key takeaway here. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Peace out.